JJP, Jack Joseph Puig.
Thank you. First of all, can you guys hear me okay? Let me just start off by saying that the initial concept of the plugins, right? In my mind, I've sort of watched how the professional recording studio is slowly but surely I don't want to say dying, but not in the position it used to be. In Los Angeles, Hollywood, California, there used to be literally 50 choices of record studios to pick from. They all had different sounds, different consoles. It was a whole different era. We now are not in the era any longer, right? And obviously because of the digital revolution, the tools are in everyone's hands. So I wanted to create plugins that were something you could put on and get really close to something fast. One, so that your head was in the right space, which is paying attention to the music that you're writing. That's the most important thing. So I always pictured in my mind, when I was making it, somebody in a room with a Paul Reed guitar or something on his lap, right? A red Nord in front of him, a Moog that his grandma found on the weekend at some garage sale, right? And maybe some other keyboard over this way. And I always imagine this guy that's not really educational in terms of like engineering, and really shouldn't be. He's a great songwriter, he's a great musician, maybe he has a band, maybe 3 of his friends are over or whatever. And I always imagine that process of the person pulling up the menu, right? Okay, equalizer, and then looking at that menu like, which one? And I kind of like the Focusrite one because it's red, but which one, right? And then after he puts that in, it's like, you know, it needs a little bit of compression. Which one? And after he figures out which one, does it go before or after the equalizer? Well, I heard in Pensado's place that so-and-so said that you put the equalizer afterwards, but another guy said it on something I saw at Mixmasters that didn't really go that way, but I read in Mix Magazine that this other guy said, I don't know which one it is, right? And the truth is, all of them are right, all of them work, all of them make a different result. Why I like to spend some time in Q&A today is because my personal pet peeve and frustration of late, that being maybe in the last month or so, is I'm watching a lot of people who do what I do for a living, and I would actually call my competition, or how do I like to put it, people that do what I do. And I'm watching them give speech after speech, or even putting in print, that the only thing that matters is the feel. And that equipment doesn't matter, and don't be a gearhead, and who cares about gear, and it's all about, getting the feel and the attitude, and trust your instinct, and all of that. And I'm like, but that's not true. I mean, it's important to trust your instinct, and feel, of course, is important, and I think that all that's important, right? But gear has a sound and an attitude, and it can be driven and used in so many ways to accomplish a vision that you have. So when they say guitar 1176, vocal 1073, doesn't mean that 1073 or that 1176, depending what you do with it, could do with 90 million sounds. I remember when I mixed the first Green Day record that I mixed, Rob Cavallo, the producer, I'll give him the credit, said take the bass and run it into the mic input of the 1073 and kind of just crank it up. And I'm like, well, that's going to be like beyond distorted. Even if I didn't crank the mic preamp up, even if I had it in this lowest position, bass coming from a line in position, right, is going to way overdrive it, so mic input, because I know. I just crank it up. So, okay, I cranked it up, and he said, now just sneak that underneath the bass. And I was like, oh, it's a hands amp. That's the Chad Blake guy does, except we're doing it with the 1073. So that's my point. They could use a Sans amp or a 1073, but they would do it differently, right? Because the EQ curves are considerably different on the two, right? And the gain is going to be considerably different. So that would create a different mood, a different attitude, a different perspective. Does that make sense? That's why saying that gear doesn't matter is wrong. It's what matters is technique. What you're not learning is technique. What are the different things I can do with that piece of equipment? How can I abuse it? How can I not abuse it? What happens if I put the volume this way? What happens if I compress this way? What happens if I put the attack this way? How does it relate to music? That's what matters. The emotion and the feel and caption the attitude of the song is automatic. If you're not doing that, you shouldn't even be in the room. You're not a musician, you're a moron. Right? That just goes unsaid. But it's all these other tools that we have that can help us, right, to take those things to the next level, give them the next emotion, the next feeling. Does that make sense? So, that's my pet peeve at the moment. I'll just show you a little bit